Nearly 1 week since 1,900 students walked into Apalachee High School in Winder, Georgia, just expecting another day of school. But by 9:30 in the morning, it was anything but a normal day of class. 2 students and 2 teachers died that morning. 9 others were injured when police say a 14-year-old student just started shooting. His motive, still tonight, is unknown. In just a minute, we're going to speak to a mother who had 2 children inside Apalachee High School. She'll tell us what that deadly day was like for her family and why she feels that there were red flags that were certainly missed. But first, body camera footage has been released now that shows sheriff's deputies questioning the alleged shooter and his father last year after the FBI received a tip that he made a threat online to, quote, shoot up a middle school tomorrow. Listen to this.
I don't know anything about him saying shit like that, and I'm going to be mad as hell if he did. And then all the guns will go away, and they won't be accessible to him. And I'm telling you right now, we talk about it quite a bit. Okay. All the school shootings, things that happen.
Yeah, scary.
Hey, are you getting picked on at school? He is. He's getting picked on at school, and is everything okay? That's why I keep going up there.
Did you say something about school shooting?
Never. I just told him, I don't know what. Maybe they misheard somebody else. I would never say that.
You never ever said.
No, I swear.
Do you use Discord?
Discord?
Yes, sir.
I used to. I don't have it.
When was the last time you used it?
Like a few months ago.
And maybe it was something he heard or did on Discord months ago. I don't know. I have no idea. Okay. So, but he's telling me he didn't. Yeah. Telling me he can't remember anything like that. Yeah. I take you at your word. Okay. If you look me in the eye and you tell me that's what you're telling me, I got no choice but to take it at your word right now. But
yes, sir.
Each day, we're finding out more details about how this tragedy unfolded. And today, Nancy Grace joined Morning on Merritt Street to share even more new information.
The school shooter, Colt Gray, had only been at Apalachee High a few days. All of his prior angst and his homicidal and suicidal ideation had occurred at a previous school. The FBI had been watching him, and local law enforcement elsewhere had actually visited the home. Nothing was done. And Miss Turner, Sonia Turner, that joined us last night along with another parent, had 2 children. 2 little girls in the school. She described everything she went to, how she was texting with her pastor, and they were texting back and forth the Lord's Prayer. Can you imagine? That's all she could do. Of course, that's a very powerful tool, right?
Can you imagine? That mother joins us now. Sonia Turner, welcome to the show. First of all, please know that I'm extremely sorry for what's happened in your community. How are you and how are your family doing tonight?
We're contending. I refuse to say we're okay or good, the typical answer you give, but we're contending day by day, minute by minute.
What about your girls? How old are they? What grade are they in? And how are they doing?
15, 10th grade, and then 14, 9th grade. And they both are handling things very differently. I don't think trauma and grief, looks the same in anybody. And one was much closer to the situation than the other. So it's very difficult to navigate that with them because we're grieving too.
What do you mean much closer?
My oldest daughter was much closer to the incident.
How far away?
So she could hear the gunshots.
Sonia, what did she see?
She didn't see anything. It's what she could hear. She could hear the banging in the hallways. She could hear the gunshots in the hallways, as is spelled out in the text message threads that have kind of been circulating online. The other daughter just had fears because she knew she had heard through text messages with her friends and other things that one of the teachers had been shot. There was a gunman. It was real. They were on lockdown. So her experience was much different than my 15-year-old.
You mentioned those text messages. I want to share them with our viewers now. It's really a back and forth that you had with your girls. This one starts with, gunshots, Mama. I just heard more, I swear. Then you ask, where are you hiding? And your daughter replies, I'm behind a long desk. Please check us out. I'm scared. One of your daughters again saying, Mommy, I'm scared. And you can see the panic and you can feel the panic in your replies as you write, I need you to keep texting me, girls. Girls, are you okay? I love you. Sonia, I have a 16-year-old daughter who's a sophomore in high school. And for the life of me, I can't imagine what will be going through my head as I'm trying to write text messages feverishly when I hear that someone's inside her school shooting. How did you do it?
I don't know. The same way I don't know how I've been given the strength to do these interviews, but I know that there's a whole community here that needs a voice, and somehow or another, I've been able to be that voice. Getting through that moment, I had to call my husband, and I can still. It's real. It's real. I need you to get to the school. It's real. I was not supposed to be out of bed rest, so I was trying to get him to the school. And then there were other mothers that ended up coming to my house while we're waiting to know if we can get on campus to get our kids. We got through it together. It's the only thing we did. We fell apart together.
I can't help but think of 4 families tonight who either lost a father who was a teacher or a coach there, or a son or a daughter who was a student there on campus. What would you say to them? And
we
put me.
We love you.
Sure, but put me in your daughters walked out, but the families of these young men, they didn't have that.
Nope.
Put that into words for me.
It's not okay. What happened was not okay. They were beautiful souls. They were represented very well at the vigil that we had at the school the other night. My son had Coach Aspinwall as a coach during his summer camp, I believe. So, I mean, it affects even him. He's 9. They're just beautiful, beautiful people that didn't deserve this.
Where do you put your frustration? Where do you point your blame in the anger that you feel inside right now? Because the FBI, you heard it in the videotape we played, they said to him, you're going to look me in my eye and you're going to tell me you didn't do it. I'm going to take you at your word. That was the initial complaint that came in a year ago. And then this.
So I haven't looked at that video enough to know for sure, and I'm taking you for your word that that's FBI and not the county, but either way, I have a high respect for law enforcement. I think their job is extremely difficult. I think that there are laws in place that if they don't have the right evidence, they're not allowed to charge somebody with a crime. Most of the time, that's usually for our benefit if we didn't commit that crime, right? But in this situation, maybe there was more that could have been looked into. Maybe there was more that could have been done in that specific incident. I don't know. So I can't answer 100%. But what I do know from knowing a friend that taught him from early on to other people that encountered this individual and this family, that there were red flags and they did everything they could do to try to get him help. Now, where the help didn't come, I don't know. And I don't like to place blame because I don't think that is helpful. What I like to try to look for is solutions to prevent it. Right. You can't react to these things. That's one of the things one of the experts had said on the show I had with Nancy Grace last night. We got to stop trying to respond. We got to start trying to prevent. And I do believe we have some ideas on the best way to do that, but I do believe there's some federal and other legislation and rules that are making it very difficult to implement those things.
What are your thoughts on prevention? How do you do it? Because there are families that are watching right now who are scared that it could happen at their kid's school.
Yeah. So for our specific incident, like I had mentioned to Nancy, he had only been there a couple of days. And that FBI interview doesn't automatically attach to his school file. That's not how that works. But I do believe there should be some sort of registry, some sort of database that when students have these red flags and have these warning signs or have reached a threshold of danger that when they go and move schools, because often troubled kids and troubled families move to get away from the trouble, then when you enroll them somewhere else, there's a red flag that says, hey, you got to really look out for this one and make sure they're okay and make sure they get the services that they need. And that database doesn't exist. It's no different than trying to go and get a gun. And if you have, a felony or a big problem, you can't get a gun. It's the same concept.
Sonia, I know you're doing a lot for your community. You've set up a GoFundMe to raise money for kids to buy new clothes who can't afford new clothes because the clothes they have now are soaked in blood from that day. We are praying for you, your family, and the community of Winder, Georgia tonight. Thank you for sharing your story with us.
Thank you.
You bet.
Thank you so much.
Meanwhile, the teen suspect in this case is facing life in prison. His father has also been charged for buying his son a gun, despite knowing that he was struggling with mental health issues. They'll both be back in court in early December.
Our heart goes out to all those in Winder, Georgia. And after the break, we're going to meet a former teacher who left the profession during the pandemic, but is now dedicated to tackling the nationwide teacher shortage. Don't go away.